What are you doing? What are you saying? Zen Master Munan had one close disciple. Master Munan was getting old. Master Munan was getting old. And he called his disciple in and said, "You have finished your study with me." Now, that's an interesting line right there. Do we ever finish our spiritual practice? Is there a culmination? Is there an end? And yet we do finish our karmic connection with certain people. The old teacher, retiring, perhaps dying, and of course, that karmic stream runs out. So Munan called his student into the room and said, "I'm old. Our karmic connection is about ending. And I'd like to give you a gift. And the gift I want to give you is my notes, all of my careful recordings of my work with my teacher, my work with my students over these many years. I'm going to give you a whole notebook full of koans and their answers and commentaries. Give you a whole book full of my insights about teaching for these many years." Here's the book. The wisdom in this book has been passed down from master to master, generation after generation, to me. I've added some things to it, but I now give it to you. It's very valuable. Now, this is a tradition in many Zen circles, is that as you're going through koan study, you write out the koans, you write out your responses, your answers. You actually can do a whole essay on a particular koan as a way of trying to digest and understand the point of the koan, the expression of the koan. And many times these books are passed on from generation to generation. So this teacher, Munan, is now passing on what to him is a very precious culmination of his teaching. His student received it and threw it in the fire. You can imagine what a shock that would be. The teacher said, "What are you doing? This is valuable. How can you ignore it?" And the student said, "What are you saying? The truth is not in any book. The truth is alive right now." So there's some interesting points on both sides of this koan. It is true that the fundamental truth, fundamental reality, is not something that can be put into words, not something that can be put into books, something to only be recognized intimately. And yet, the functioning of that, the expression of that, the bodhisattva vow that comes out of that is something that uses every bit of the world, every bit of wisdom, every skillful expression. So on one hand, the student probably is still quite immature, quite arrogant, thinking, I know, I'm cool, I've got this down. Everything this stuff is extra, it doesn't belong here. But that's not the inclusive nature of mind. The inclusive nature of mind includes everything. So this student, we hope, will continue to grow and to gain the wisdom of the functioning of the bodhisattva vow. But the same thing is true for all of us. We receive lots of gifts, lots of acts of kindness. And do we accept them, digest them, use them, offer them, or do we push them to the side saying, I don't need that. I don't need that. I already know what I need to know. The mind of a true student is always learning. The mind of a true student is I do not know. Because when we don't know, there's plenty of room for learning. Plenty of room for being more skillful to help others.